How you doing? Yeah, back again. I watched that The God Who Sees and a few others. You know, here's the thing about humanity and its history. It's full of half truths. Even the Bible itself is filled with half truths. And when you get to the top side, you'll get to know all the truths. But the truth is, that book is exactly designed as he wanted it, the way he wanted it, for a reason. Won't know that one until we get to the other side. And you'll get to see. See, I'm not even really privy to most of Jesus's stuff because he wants me focusing on my path. And to be honest with you, it's me and him's time when I get there to go through his stuff and what he walked and what he went through. I mean, after all, we got to compare stories. Jesus knows mine, but I don't know his yet. I know a lot. I've studied. I've read scripture. When I was in prison, I had a buddy. Uh, him and I, we would do a scripture study together. Not a lot to do there, and since he only gave me certain things I could work on, that was one thing I did, and I studied scripture. I mean, all the way back to Hebrew translations, and you know, I come up with yeah, it's a mess. It is a friggin' mess. There's no, this is like a puzzle that's got half the damn pieces missing. What the hell? Can you come up with something a little better than that? Yeah, I knew an answer to finding God was not in those scriptures. There had to be some science. There had to be some facts. There had to be something. And so pretty much went on. But that poor old buddy of mine, man, he's still doing time. Still there over stupidity. Because the world just loves tagging sex offenders. And the real truth is, some are, but most are not. It's just the way it is. But, it is what it is. And we all have our own boot camp. You know, everyone is with chains around their ankle in a lot of ways. And how you deal with those chains, that's your walk. You have to remember this is boot camp. And everything that happens here is to test you, to give you challenges, to make you the best person you can be. Do you fall over and cry when it gets bad? Or you get up and say, yeah, let's do that again. And you keep at it. I've always been get up. Just been the way it was. So anyway, just want to let you know about those half truths. We know it. Mankind's always known it. That's why we're always trying to discover what we might have wrong. You ain't getting more answers. Shit, they thought that them hieroglyphics on the pyramids were language. That wasn't language, guys. That was the equivalent of family crests. That's all it was. People had nouns back then, and that was about it. Language hadn't been developed yet. Moses and the Father, they created language. That's what was carried around in that ark. See, God had to learn how to speak. See, something you guys don't also realize is that God is growing up. He's a child God. And at the time of Moses, he could not speak to his children. He could give them visions of what he wanted, and they did it. They made some polished stones all over the world. Nobody knows why those stones are there. Because there was a tribe that listened to God, and they prospered because they did his work, and they made it into heaven. But he couldn't talk. He couldn't mankind could not talk to each other. He had to educate his children. See, it's been a challenge for him all along from the beginning. Adam and Eve was the first cells and went from there. And we became Neanderthal / cavemen. But we were really like our pets at that point in the development of humanity. We didn't have a brain capable of holding a soul. It just wasn't enough connections. But we evolved, and we did get connections, and we did start understanding, becoming sentient. And as time grew, we grew. And then language came. You know how they always talk about the word came in the Bible? The word, the word, the word. Moses and God made the word. Language. That was the start. And then once he got that going, and he knew how to do that, he went other directions. But see, a lot of other directions he went to, other tribes, though they understood what he was putting to their head, they didn't come up with the same word. For water, for example. Moses created the word for water, and so did the Chinese, the Japanese, all the different tribes. And they developed language in their minds. And that's why we have so many different languages. And that was the initial start. But he couldn't send his first king until he had language to talk. He wouldn't have had the power to be able to communicate. That's why it is the way it is. So when you talk about the word came, yeah, the word came because of Moses and his work with the Father. And though he thought he was talking to a burning bush, he really was having visions put in his head by God. So just another one of those things to give you the facts of what really is our history and where we've really came from. Yes, Darwin in some ways was correct, but in many ways not. God has always been with us. God has always been teaching us. We've all been teaching God. And when I come back, I'll tell you about God's stake in this. Christ the second King, second Son. I'll be back.